Hello my beautiful hammerheads and welcome back to another video. This time I want to talk about the vampires in Age of Sigmar who apparently can get sick and die because even though they are immortal, they are in their second life, there's still no exception of old age. Or are they? So the thing is, the book The Last Volari by Kloster is a great book. I recommend to read it first, but I want to talk about this. I just finished it today, and there we have the Castelli. Those are the vampires of the Crimson Keep. The Crimson Keep, if you should not know what it is just a castle who has a curse on it, teleports around in the mortal realms, and the locations it teleports to are old ruins of, well, old castles, and there has to be a war nearby. So it teleports there, the vampires ride out, kill everything, get blood drunk, come back, it teleports away to the next fight, and so on. If someone's get left behind, because no one knows when or even how this whole thing works with the teleportation. So sometimes when a vampire is out partying, drinking, maybe that vampire is getting left behind. And the curse of the Crimson Keep, well, it kills them in a short amount of time. So these vampires here, the Volari, it's basically just a family. Let's just call him Father, is the leader of a group of 5 Castelli families. He was the chosen king of these Castellis, and he got sick. He got weaker by the day, and we follow the story of Nissa Volari, his blood daughter, let me call it like that. He made her as she was a child because the Crimson Keep came to her place, killed everyone in the town, and not only them because they were attacked by chaos. And she, as a child, was brave enough to attack him with a kitchen knife and stab one of his eyes out. Brave child, great. And so he thought, I can use her. She's going to be a great warrior. Made her a vampire. And there we are. And she is, in vampire terms, a teenager. Because she's just about 100 years old. A little bit more than that, but not by much. This is the vampire teenager story. This is so incredibly funny to me, as I can't remember if there was anything like that before. Maybe my brain just blocked it out to save myself from it. But here Kloster did something beautiful, because every character has character development. They grow in the story. I love that. There isn't much fighting in it. I love that. Except the end, there is a lot of fighting there. And it makes sense. Stuff is happening. I still got bored. That is all I say about the fight scenes. The only fight scenes that were great were 2 of them, and 2 of them were duels with Nissa and 2 other Castellis. They were great, they were fun, because there was this vampire versus vampire feeling and how they are, well, perceiving each other. That was great. And they weren't too long also. So, but yeah, she comes back from a hunt. Hers from the necromancer, who is the doctor. I don't know how to say it. Instead of a Medicae, you have a necromancer. Makes sense. I never thought about it that way. But yeah, he says, oh yeah, I don't know what's up. It's not a curse. It's not that. I checked everything. He's just dying. Maybe it's the curse of the Crimson Keep. He can't tell, and he's not a real a smart man, because even though he has necromantic skills, he never had a teacher, he never had the books to learn, and so he is street smarts. He learned on the fly, but it is very limited what he has in his repertoire. And so, well, the king dies. And without his wife, because the queen died 40 years ago against the cities of Sigmar, which is nearby, in which they were in a war with, or still are in a war with. And so there is the question of succession. As a vampire, he can of course be resurrected. So Nissa says, I will keep his seat warm or cold until we resurrect him. And every other Castelli is, but you are just a child. We were Castelli since before you were even made, and so on. And here the rivalries begin, as two of the other ones are still teenagers, vampire teenagers, and one of the other ones is just mad and on the brink of becoming a Vargeist. So we get to see the politics in here, which I really enjoyed, as everything is depicted in a very clear way. This was the right amount of explanation for me at this sleep-deprived time. I could follow the story even when I was tired. That might sound like a bad thing, but that is not the focus of the story. And as it is not the focus of the story, I enjoyed it that it's being explained not really simple, but as I've said, in a clear way. And the focus of the story is, well, first of all, one thing, that Nissa, our main character, has the voice of her blood mother in her head, because they tried to resurrect her once. It did not work. The thing that worked was, well, her soul got maybe tangled up with hers. She herself does not understand it. But this is fascinating, as the voice in her head, of course, well, she talks to her like in a regular way. And this mother-daughter relationship they have, I really, really enjoyed it, as she teaches her all throughout the story on how to behave like a queen, because she's being called the princess, as a kind of mockery, as the Castelli don't have this hereditary system of, oh yeah, the father and the mother are dead, now you are the queen. No, the king or queen are chosen by the other Castelli. They have to be found worthy for this. And the human side also calls her Princess Blood Eyes, because she has, when she gets angry, thirsty, blood drunk, she has this really fluorescent, let me tell it this way because I was looking at fluorescent paints today, red eyes. I love this because the human side, the cities of Sigmar side, are also very desperate. They are trying to find a way on how to end the war, on how to defeat the Soul Blights. And of course, they're calling her Princess Blood Eyes, which is really great. Oh, and the audiobook version has 2 narrators. I love this so damn much. Sadly, I don't know who voices whom. We have Amy Roxon and Fiona Skinner. I have no idea where they came from, but I love them. They made the story so good, as one of them is Nissa, the other one is, I forgot the name of let me just call it Free Guild Marshal now, with the new Cities of Sigmar Battle Tome. Great voice actresses, so good. I felt for the characters and just beautiful. Really, really good. So immediately when one of them started talking, I was in the mode, okay, let's go Cities of Sigmar. When the other one came, okay, let's go Soulblight. I was captivated, if that is the right word. But yeah, okay, I digress. During the first quarter of the story, it becomes clear that there is also something wrong with Nissa, as she shows the first signs of the sickness. And well, everyone is just like, you want to be queen, or rather regent, until your father comes back, but you can't even hold your own sword. So the first duel in the book was really, really good. It's against one of the other Soulblights, of course, Magdalena. Great character. I really enjoyed her character. Even though she is also a teen vampire. But with the voice of the mother in Nissa's head, and with Magdalena being over 2 centuries old or 3 centuries old, I forgot, but it does not really matter. She's just more experienced, but still a little bit childish. And it is a little bit meta here that Gary Kloster also tells us in the, in between the lines or straight from the ethereal mouth of the mother, you are a child, you were always a child, you have to grow up, and she is a child, and so on. So I kind of have the feeling that Gary Kloster is the mother of Nissa, and I love this. Because the things are obvious, of course. This is not a difficult story, but it's a good story. Stories don't have to be difficult or complex to be good. Simple stories can also be told in an incredibly well-made way. And this is a very well-written story. And to have the mother or Gary Kloster tell us that one is a child, that is a child, he is stupid, don't do that. Sometimes I had the feeling, oh man, that guy is stupid. And the mother says it, and I was just like, okay, thank you. But yeah, so Nissa, Princess Blood Eyes, gets sick as well. She gets weaker by the day. She learns about her mortality, which I also really enjoyed, because we don't see the Soulblights in Age of Sigmar as really mortal, because with Nagash at the helm, you are coming back, you are coming back, you are coming back. I am the god of death, and so on. It's really meaningless. If you have a use for him, he will bring you back. And with this one, she's just like, am I even worthy? Why am I getting sick? It's been 100 years since the Crimson Keep is gone. The curse should be gone, but it's not the curse of the Crimson Keep. What is going on? Is it a flaw in the bloodline or something like that? And to see how this evolves throughout the story, how she gets weaker, how everyone leaves her, and only her 2 bodyguards stay with her. It's beautiful. Of course, the story has its problems. As I've said, it's a pretty simple story. I know I kind of go against the thing I said before, because throughout the story you have all these little hints here and there, and you already know what's going to happen. You already know what's happening. And there was no real suspense, because the Cities of Sigmar side is also pretty clear. Everything is written on their sleeves, and well, there is a priest who thinks, oh, the Soulblights killed my father, I want revenge, gathers around him an army of the faithful. There I really enjoyed that our Free Guild Marshal is just like, You can't argue with fanatics. You will always lose because fanatics, the truth just inconveniences them, they don't care, and so on. That I really, really enjoyed. And even though the priest learns about the truth, it's still, haha, but I'm right, I'm the voice of Sigmar, which kind of fits. But yeah, so we get to see that on the human side there are traitors, and that is not a secret. It's really, oh, they're doing shady stuff in the dark, and there are bats around. What's going to happen? And on the other side as well, we have traitors, and you see the bats coming back, and so on. So, of course, it's not on a strict timeline. It takes 2 or 3 chapters in between for the bats to come back, and so on. So it's not in your face, but when you're looking for hints here and there, you will see them. So I don't want to spoil the story too much. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to have this teenage vampire Princess Blood Eyes character to evolve to the queen she becomes, on how she, well, cures herself of this sickness, and how they are seeing mortality now, and how she gets stronger over time because she learns more stuff about herself, about her blood parents, and how she learns to wield other vampires, not really wield, but politically wield, how she gets more nuanced. Great character arc. Also the Free Guild Marshal, and I'm so sad that I forgot her name, because she was also a very well made character. Her storyline also very good. The supporting characters like the priest were maybe my dislike of those fanatical characters. I understand why they are there. I enjoy those. I don't like those. I know it doesn't make sense, but as I wasn't really the target group of the story, I won't judge it too hard. It's an 8 out of 10, incredibly well written characters in the story, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's also for you. As I've said, the beginning is incredibly teenage vampire story, and it more and more becomes the coming of age story, and then the regular vampire story. Not my cup of tea, but it doesn't have to be. As I've said, I still enjoyed it. It was a great change of pace for me, and a really good palate cleanser, by the way. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on all of this? Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I am keen to know what you have to say. And while you're down there, do all the YouTube stuff, because hitting buttons is fun. Why? Because that way we can grow our hobby community and can talk more about Warhammer. Have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic. Stay hydrated. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!